For starters, I understand that some do not consume alcohol at all, and some only socially and or in moderation. And still there are others who believe it's, well, essential food groups: wheat, barley, malt, and hops. Hopefully, no one is offended with this well-researched podcast, because on Tuesday, January 17th, the Canadian Centre on Substance Abuse and Addiction, CCSA, updated its guidance on alcohol and health. New Canadian guidelines suggesting limiting alcohol consumption to 2 drinks per week. Their argument is that consuming more than 2 standard alcoholic drinks per week increases your risk of heart disease, stroke, or cancer. However, they've failed to publish any peer-reviewed documentation in support of this. The CCSA reports to the Minister of Health, its head office in Ottawa. It has a chief executive officer, a chairperson, and 3 directors. There is 1 vacant position I'm recommending for Brother Bill. I guess they know that selling beverages in Ontario is big business. The LCBO reports more than 8,000 employees with $9.6 billion in annual sales. And when we factor in the beer stores employing another 6,500, they've got over 1,100 brands, 250 brewers, almost 250 stores, sales approaching $500 million. So we've got in Ontario about 15,000 employees doing over $10 billion in business each year. Kind of reminds me of the Molson ad that ran in the NHL playoffs in 2000. Do you remember I Am Canadian?
Hey, I'm not a lumberjack or a fur trader, and I don't live in an igloo or eat blubber or own a dog sled. And I don't know Jimmy, Sally, or Susie from Canada, although I'm certain they're really, really nice. I have a prime minister, not a president. I speak English and French, not American, and I pronounce it about, not a boot. I can proudly sew my country's flag on my backpack. I believe in peacekeeping, not policing. Diversity, not assimilation. And that the beaver is a truly proud and noble animal. A toque is a hat. A Chesterfield is a coach. And it is pronounced Zed, not Z-Z. Canada is the second largest landmass, the first nation of hockey, and the best part of North America. My name is Joe, and I am Canadian. Thank you.
Do you remember the Molson Made from Canada ad?
When you think about Canadians, you might ask yourself, why are we the way we are? Well, the answer is laying right under our feet, literally. Fact is, it's this land that shapes us. There's a reason why we run off the dock instead of tippy-toe in. It's because that water is frozen 6 months a year. And that frozen water brought on a sport that we can call our own. This land is unlike any other. We have more square feet of awesomeness per person than any other nation on Earth. It's why we flock towards lakes, mountains, forests, rivers, and streams. We know we have the best backyard in the world, and we get out there every chance we get. Because it's not just the great outdoors we're chasing, it's freedom. And this place gives it to us at every turn. Here, we're free to chill out, free to unwind, and free to wind up. There's a beer that comes from the same land we let loose on, and it's brewed to be as clean, crisp, and fresh as the country it comes from. So here's to everything this land gives us. Molson Canadian, made from Canada.
Well, back to CCSA and 2 drinks a week. You know, a Brock professor, Dan Malik, weighed in on the matter last September when he wrote, "Not included in their report are any positive benefits to moderate alcohol consumption, including social aspects that can be protective against stress, anxiety, and suicidal ideation." He went on to say, all of those things are harder to track to a biomedical outcome. By assuming there's no positive value of alcohol in people's lives, the research ignores other potentially lethal or damaging activity that may have been averted due to drinking. And on January the 28th this year, Jennifer Robinson, MD, identified 8 ways alcohol may be good for you, and here are a few of them. It'll be good for you if you're in good shape. Regular, moderate drinkers are less likely to get kidney stones. And people who have a drink or 2 together rather than, say, a soda are likely to spend more time talking and sharing stories. Intimacy helps you deal with stress. and a little alcohol often moves things along. A drink or two a few times a week may make you less likely to get Alzheimer's disease. That happy hour cocktail or glass of wine with dinner may make you less likely to develop type 2 diabetes. Oh, what do we not know about alcohol? This question led me to some research, and I'm referring now to an article in the Los Angeles Times by Melissa Healy, dated December 1st, 2014. And here she's reporting on a paper published by Matthew Kerrigan of Santa Fe College in Gainesville, Florida, regarding an enzyme known as ADH4. And this is a virtual quote. Roughly 10 million years ago, long before humans began to store food harvested by agriculture, and long before they intentionally fermented food and made a delightfully relaxing ritual of consuming the result, a new study finds that the guts of our primate ancestors evolved the ability to metabolize alcohol. Our 10-million-year-old relationship with alcohol should come as no surprise. The authors of the latest research suggest it coincides with the Middle Miocene climactic transition, a period of rapid environmental change in which the fragmented forest ecosystems of East Africa gave way to grassland ecosystems. And in that period, our humanoid ancestors, consumers of tree fruits all, increasingly came down from the trees. As they dragged their hands along the ground, they would have likely found fallen fruit, colonized by yeast, and in various stages of fermentation. Those that could eat that spoilage would not only have fared better at living on the ground than those sustaining themselves on unripened fruit in the trees. They would have been more likely to survive lean growing seasons by virtue of their ability to eat fruit and eventually meats that were well past their prime. Indeed, our human ancestors may have enjoyed the gauzily pleasant effect that consuming such fruit had. So, when humans developed the tools to do so millions of years later, they took yeast into their own hands and became deliberate makers of beers, wines, and spirits. The bottom line of this report is simply this. The ability to metabolize alcohol likely predates humanity, with primates eating fermenting fruit. But with this important knowledge tucked in my knapsack, I continued down the lane of research to find the oldest brewery. Here's what I found. The oldest verifiable brewery was found in a prehistoric burial site in a cave near Haifa in modern-day Israel. Researchers have found residue of 13,000-year-old beer that they think might have been used for ritual feasts to honor the dead. The traces of wheat and barley-based alcohol were found in stone mortars carved into the cave floor. Some have proposed that alcoholic drinks predated agriculture, and it was in fact the desire for alcoholic drinks that led to agriculture and civilization itself. Oh my! This is all fascinating. Well, there you have it. Happy Hour likely started millions of years ago. This has been another production from Stonewall Studios, thanking Brother Bill for the inspiration from right here in the heart of Niagara.